This is Cutting Down the Nets, January 3rd, SWACtion Day. Short schedule, lots of SWAC action, also known as greasy basketball. That can be hard to predict. We'll do our best today. For the year, 56.6% against the spread over an extremely large sample. Made a mistake yesterday, though. Houston, down 3 perimeter players, something I just missed. Their injuries, not COVID. Can't blame the beat writer. Can only blame myself. And I will own that L and move on with my life. Here is today's schedule. Maryland, Iowa. I have Iowa minus 10. Line is 8. Iowa has 2 bad outlier defensive performances, so you could argue that the 10 is a little light here. However, Maryland's a strength on strength here from a rebounding interior defensive perspective, meaning it's not a dream matchup, certainly not one that causes the Hawks a lot of concern, but certainly doesn't match up perfectly for Iowa to outperform expectations. Another problem with Iowa, weird schedule. Played an awful schedule outside of a handful of games. And in the games that were against good teams, Purdue, down 28, came back, made it close. Illinois, down like 18, came back, made it close. Iowa State, down 20, did not make it close. Utah State, up 20, and it never got tight there. So they have had weird games, and McCaffrey will deploy different lineups based on the situation. For instance, a Tony Perkins with a high steal rate, great come-from-behind player. I think he's a great overall player that should get more minutes anyway, but he's just a different type of player than like a Connor McCaffrey, who protects the ball, plays well as a lead, high assist-to-turnover ratio, just a solid contributor that has no business shooting a basketball. But look, they have played the 16th most bench minutes, so I truly don't know who they are yet, and I think they're trying to figure that out themselves. Wisconsin, Purdue, not much value here. Washington, Arizona, not much value. An extremely large spread for a conference game. Towson, Drexel. Drexel's okay. I have Towson by 6.5 because they've been hot from deep. So it's likely inflated a bit. But Towson has multiple shooters. I think they have 4 guys over 40% on the year. So I'm not too concerned with like recent hot 3-point performances when a team has multiple shooters. No issues matchup-wise, but here's the problem. Cam Holden, who's not arguably, I would say, Towson's best player, is out. So at 2.5, it's a yellow for me because I think my model's overweighting it by maybe a point due to recent play. And then, Holden out matters. So I'll play this game, but I want something closer to a 1. If 2.5 is the best I get right before tip, it's a maybe for me. But that's a big loss and probably something I ignore on a larger slate. But hey, I like action. Texas Southern versus Southern. Texas Southern is 2-7. They've played a ridiculous schedule. Lots of high quality competition. So their raw stats look pretty poor, but their adjusted efficiencies look good. This is what the analytics do. And it's not perfect, but at this stage in the game, I like the analytics side. So what this means is if you play pretty bad against really good teams, then maybe you'll play pretty good against really bad teams. And that's this adjusted efficiency in a nutshell. It factors in quality of opponent. So I do like Texas Southern here. That 2-7 is very misleading. But massive turnover edge for Southern here and a big edge on the glass for Texas Southern. If you're a degenerate, you can play FAMU and Bethune-Cookman. But if you're a degenerate, you're playing all these SWAC games, right? Neither team shoots any threes, so it's a low variance game. I like that. But in the SWAC, there is rarely low variance games. Sometimes you have tight spreads and the outcomes are 20 to 30 points. There is a slight turnover edge for FAMU, slight rebounding edge for Bethune. I'm going to stay away from this one. Not enough value for me, but I do like the Bethune side slightly. Bama A&M at APB. This will come down to APB making three-pointers. They shoot at a high rate, and A&M allows threes at a high rate. Slight turnover edge for Bama A&M, but both teams are going to force turnovers. That's kind of the staple of SWAC basketball, is ugly, messy basketball with lots of turnovers. So I do like the Pine Bluff side here, but plenty of risk in this game. But hey, it's Monday. Let's fire the cannons. Sac State, Oregon State, I do think the Beavers are turning the ocean liner here. Meaning, I'm seeing some leading indicators that they're not as bad as they've been. And man, they just keep playing awful teams that we are not able to exploit as much. So I'm looking forward to Pac-12 play, where they'll draw the UCLAs if they ever play basketball again. Arizona, Cal, Stanford. I don't know. I just think there's going to be other spots to attack the Beavers, and this will be yet another game to tell us if they are trending or if they are in fact bad. Last game, I want to start with caution. This is Rio Grande Valley versus Sam Houston State. You'll see some variance in the spread, very high number. Don't go bet 15 units on this game, because you see like, wow, it's a huge difference. Usually it's only 4, 5, 6 points. I do like the matchup, but plenty of risk here. Sam Houston State 3-point reliant. They have a turnover edge. They're going to get plenty of looks from three. So it's pretty wide range outcomes on the Sam Houston side. However, when you look at this from an adjusted efficiency standpoint, both these teams are really, really close on the year. They have very similar offensive adjusted efficiencies and similar defensive adjusted efficiencies, with me giving a slight edge to Rio Grande Valley even on the road. That is a game I will bet, but don't go overboard on that. So my final card looks like Texas Southern plus 1.5, Rio Grande Valley plus 9, APB plus 1, and Towson. Man, minus 2.5 is paying full market value for a team that's missing Cam Holden. Ken Palm is 1, so maybe we'll get a better number there, but I do like the Towson side. Interested to see how they perform without Holden. He's out like a month too, so you won't have to really track that injury. Broke his face. Yep, that happened. So you can follow me on BetStamp, user ID CDTN. The Tuesday edition of Cutting Down the Nets will be out today, so we'll have access to opening lines. Thanks for following. Have a great day.